Hey, have you heard about those two new smart altimeters? Well, in this video, I'm comparing both of them. So the Dekunu 1 or the Aon2 X2. Hey there, this is Catherine Bernier from Skydive Vibes, sharing the passion of skydiving and helping you become a better skydiver. So if you're new here, consider subscribing not to miss our weekly videos all about skydiving, where sometimes we do gear reviews, just like in this one. Alright, so during the past years, we've heard about those new smart altimeters that were being developed, and even not long ago, those were only concepts. But now we're starting to see them around and we can even start to order them. So the goal of this video is to compare both of them so that you can make a good choice if you want to get your own smart altimeter. So to help, I have defined some criteria, some type of specs that I wanted to compare. Those are the specs that I think are the most relevant as skydivers. And also I did ask Dekunu and Aon2 to review those specs so that we can have the right data. And note that anytime during the video you can check down in the description, I did put a link to a document where I compare both of them in writings, so you'll be able to have a visual on the comparison between both of them. So let's dive in right now. First thing to know, where are they from? Aon2 is based in the United Kingdom, when Dekunu is actually based in Australia. The next criteria is size. They both are more massive than what we're used to for an altimeter. Of course, they are smart altimeters, meaning that they have a lot more data to offer than the actual altimeters that we're using. So they look pretty similar in size, as you can see, but I could compare them saying that the Aon2 X2 is actually larger on your wrist and the Dekunu one seems thicker. The Aon2 X2 has a slightly larger screen of 2.7 inches when the Dekunu one has a screen of 2.4. I must say that the Aon2 X2 seems really readable in the sunlight compared to the Dekunu one, but again, those are just pictures. I don't have my units yet. The Dekunu screen is actually a touch screen that is also workable with gloves. The Aon2 X2 screen is not touchable, but this is due to their waterproofing, we'll come to that later on, and the fact that it's more readable in sunlight. To compensate with the touch screen, the Aon2 X2 has 3 external buttons, as you can see here. When the Dekunu one only has one, which is the power button, that you can also customize with the LED color you want. The next thing I wanted to compare are the modes that you can have access to on those devices. So for skydiving, on both of them, we get the same type of modes. So the plane mode, the free fall or jump mode, the wingsuit mode, and then the canopy mode. The Dekunu one has some more extra modes like the find drop zone mode. So when you're lost and you did have a plan B and you want to find your drop zone back, you can have a mode to help. They are also talking about a possible base jumping mode and also a gaming mode so that you can get distracted during your ride up. Other than that, both of them are opening up to other sports than just skydiving. For the Aon2 X2, we're talking about snow sports, cycling, and just general purpose navigation. The Dekunu one is also talking about speed flying and paragliding in the future. Both are also offering a logbook feature where we can get a lot more data on our jumps. Aon2 is talking about the exit altitude, the free fall time, the opening altitude, the maximum free fall speed, and also the GPS tracking. Dekunu one is offering all that and even more with their mapping system, also in 2D or in 3D, and you'll find a lot more data that you'll be able to find in the document I made below. The reason why the Dekunu one can offer a lot more data is because you need to synchronize your device with their cloud. For that, your device needs to be connected to internet. Even your phone hotspot will work. The interesting thing is that for the Aon2 X2, it's slightly different, where they are using a phone application. So all the data will be stored on the phone application through a Bluetooth connection, and the user will be able to back up at any time on their computer. A cloud backup is on their roadmap, but not for now. Talking about clouds, the privacy policy of Dekunu is stipulating that some data may be shared with third parties. And the goal is to help jumpers to share their data with other jumpers. Also, the navigation mode on the X2 is actually just like a GPS device. You'll be able to get basic GPS data that can be useful if you land off and you need to make your way back to the drop zone. Will you have a weather report? Well, both of them are offering one. For the Dekunu one, it's directly on the device, when for the X2, it will be on the phone application. For waterproofing, I did talk about the fact that the Aon2 X2 screen is not a touch screen, and it's because it's fully waterproof. It has an IPX7, meaning that it can stand being underwater, under 1 meter of water, and even in salty water. So you have a swoop pond, no problem. When for the Dekunu one, they say it's water resistant, meaning that it cannot be submerged but stand sprinkles of water on it. Let's talk about battery lasting, because this is very important. Well, both of them claim that it depends on the usage, of course. But for the Aon2 X2, we're talking about 5 days. When for the Dekunu one, we're talking about for a weekend of jump of about 30 jump. That would make sense in terms of the battery duration. Both of them are using a micro USB to be charged. Also, they both stand Bluetooth connection, and the Dekunu one, you can add the Wi-Fi as well. As I said earlier, the Aon2 X2 has a phone application on iOS and Android, when the Dekunu one is a web application due to their cloud, but their website is actually very mobile friendly, so no problem to get on it with your phone, and so no need for an app. Now let's talk about the memory of both of those devices. The Aon2 X2 has an internal flash memory that can stand up to 278 hours of freefall and canopy logs, so this is the equivalent of 1,600 jumps. But anytime you can transfer those data so that you can also use the storage on your phone. And the Dekunu one has a 2 GB micro SD card. Next, I wanted to compare the visual of those two altimeters. So we're gonna take in the skydiving mode the different step of a jump and see what type of screen you're gonna see so that you can compare both of them. So now let's start with the plane screen. This is what you see in the plane. It's really similar to both of them. You'll be able to see the actual altitude you're at. Then you get the ground speed information, the distance from the landing zone, the current heading, the time counter, and then for the Dekunu one, we can add the ascending speed and the approximate time to height. Next is the free fall screen. So when you exit the plane, it turns into the free fall screen, and this is what you're gonna see. It has the altitude information, of course, with a color code. If you're doing wingsuiting, you'll find a different screen where you can get the altitude information again, but also the direction and distance from the drop zone and the ground speed. And for the Dekunu one, you can also add an extra information, which is the glide ratio. Once you're under your canopy, the screen will change again, and that's what you're gonna get for both of the units. Again, you have the altitude with color codes, then you have the distance and direction to the drop zone. And for the Aon2 X2, you can choose the third type of data you wanna see. You can either see the glide ratio, the ground speed, or the heading. I'm not sure if you need to choose one or it's rotating while under canopy, but that's the information you have access to. The next element I wanted to talk about is that they both come with a wrist mount. For now, both of them are selling direct, but later on they both plan to have dealers to provide their units. Alright, so this was a quick overview of the comparison of both of those units. Of course, it would be great to have those units in hand so that I could review them for you. So hit that like button so that those companies see that you guys are interested to get a full review from me of those devices. So go ahead and do not hesitate to poke them on their social media. I must say that as a personal preference, I'm leaning towards the Aon2 X2 because of its look, the fact that it's really readable into the sunlight, and also the fact that I don't necessarily need all the information that the Dekunu one is offering. But hey, I've not seen them in real life, I've not tried them, so who knows. Now, consider subscribing not to miss our weekly videos and not to miss the video of me maybe reviewing those devices in real life for you. And on that, keep jumping, stay safe, and blue skies.